1, 2, 3.
This is Marina Chang reporting live from Surf Expo 2008 for Kiteforum.com, the Kiteboarder Magazine at asnews.net. We're here today with North Kiteboarding and Sky Solbach. Sky, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with North?
Yep. My name's Sky Solbach. I'm 25 and from the USA. I've been working for North Kiteboarding for about 4, maybe 5 years now. Basically, what I do most of the time is product development. So Ken Winter, the designer, and I spend the whole year designing all the kites, the Rebel, Rhino, and Vegas, as well as working on surfboards and twin tips as well.
What was the transition like for you, Sky, going from you're quite a popular pro rider for many years, gracing many of the magazines in the kiteboarding world? What was the transition like going from being a pro rider to the other side of the realm? Because right now you basically play both roles.
Yeah, right now I'm sort of, balancing being a team rider and traveling and competing and doing photo shoots and video and whatnot with doing all the product development at the same time. I don't know, the transition was sort of not really, it was just sort of a natural transition. I was always sort of really into tweaking my gear, and I don't know, maybe not tweaking my gear, but I was just really particular about what I wanted to ride. And so I think it was just sort of a natural progression to move into developing gear and making stuff that's fun to ride.
So Sky, starting with the 2009 Vegas, can you tell us a little bit about what may have changed and what was kept the same for 2009 model from the 2008 year?
Well, a few things have changed. We didn't want to change it too much in terms of feel. I think the 2008 Vegas was a really successful kite. A lot of people really liked it. It's a free ride, freestyle kite, so it's really good for freestyle because it's really stable and has really linear sort of bar feel for unhooking, and so riders that are just doing wake style riding really like that. As well, it has a lot of D-power, so people who are doing free ride stuff and staying hooked in and doing big jumps and stuff like that and kite loops, it also works well for them. So we wanted to keep that in the 2009 Vegas. Beyond that, we've done a lot of new construction details, a lot of Kevlar patches along all the contact points along the leading edge. We've reinforced the trailing edge with a heavy Dacron, which makes the kite really rigid and keeps a nice solid structure. Also, there's 3 settings on the new Vegas. There's the traditional 5-line high D-power setting that most Vegas riders have come to really love. As well as that, there's multiple attachment points on the front pigtail, so you can move the front pigtail back, still ride it on 5 lines, but have low D-power. So riders who just want to ride wake style, unhook, keep the kite low and powered, and not have to move it a lot, will like that setting and still have the 5th element safety. Also, for really hardcore riders that don't want any safety, they just want to ride 4 lines and unhook and keep the kite powered, there's a 4-line option, so you can also fly it on 4 lines.
So if I'm a Vegas fan, what would be the most noticeable difference that I would notice in the new in the kite for 2009?
Well, I think a lot of things are still the same. You still have the nice classic Vegas feel. But I think one major improvement is, there's 2 really major improvements. One of them is low end. The 2008 Vegas, when you started to get sort of underpowered, you have to really stroke the kite up and down a lot to generate power. This year, it's a little more sheet in and go and sheet out and stop, so you don't have to really move the kite as much. Also, the kite loops are a lot better, particularly like the upstroke of a kite loop. So for doing a lot of our team riders, doing kite loop handle passes, they would do a kite loop handle pass, the kite would go all the way through, and then on the upstroke of last year's kite, the kite would sort of stop, and then you just end up with this really hard landing. I think the 2009 is much better on the upstroke of the kite loop, so you can get it over your head and land softly.
And say I'm a new rider considering the North Kiteboarding brand. Why would I choose a Vegas over, say, the Rebel?
Just 2 different styles of kite. The Vegas is much better for unhooking. So if you're a rider who, maybe you're a free rider, you want to jump and do kite loops and stuff, but you want to try some unhooking, maybe try a handle pass eventually. or if you're a really hardcore, sort of wake style rider, that's sort of what the Vegas is aimed at. That's the target group for the Vegas.
So Sky, moving on to the 2009 Rebel, can you tell us a little bit more about what went into the development of this? What you particularly concentrated on improving or changing on the 2009 model?
Well, a lot of things actually. We made a lot of really huge steps forward this year with the 2009 Rebel. Spent about 5 months developing this kite in Western Australia, riding a lot of waves with it. It's a free ride wave kite, so we wanted to, keep a lot of the characteristics from last year's Rebel and improve on a lot of things. One of the major improvements was reducing backstalling. For people who are used to flying last year's Rebel, it was a little bit technical to sort of keep the bar in the right spot. If you oversheeted a lot, it would fall backwards. For people who are used to it, it wasn't a big deal, but for people jumping on the kite for the first time, they had problems flying it. So we moved the draft forward a lot in this kite, which makes it really resistant to backstalling. So you can oversheet the kite a lot, and it still flies forward. It's not going to fly backwards. Also, it's only got 4 struts this year, so we took out the center strut and moved the quarter struts farther towards the center. That leaves the center of the canopy pretty open and free, so it's really clean and not obstructed by a strut. You don't get any pinching in the center of the leading edge. Also, we were able to reduce weight by taking out that strut, and then we added a really heavy-duty Dacron along the tips and trailing edge for rigidity. So that basically made up for taking that strut out. So that gives it more durability, keeps the same weight, and also makes it really smooth flying. So the heavy Dacron just doesn't flutter a lot. It's really a solid, stable material, and so it really makes the kite feel, really smooth when you're steering it, and really snappy and crispy.
So if I'm a beginner starting out, what kite would you recommend? Which kite from the Northline would you recommend?
For a beginner starting out, maybe something like the Evo. It's a really simple 4-line kite. Pretty much if you drop it and it hits the water, you can take your hands off the bar and it pretty much auto relaunches. You don't have to do anything to relaunch the kite. So that's a really good starting point. And then if you're moving into wave and free ride, you want a kite that has a lot of D-power, is really comfortable and easy to ride. The Rebel's a really good option for that. If you're a wake style rider or maybe a free rider who wants to maybe do some unhooked tricks, the Vegas is a really good option for that.
How about if I'm an unhooked wave rider? What kite would you recommend for that?
Now we're getting technical. Well, unhooked wave riding, either the Evo. The Evo works really well. You can unhook and do everything with the Evo. I think the Rebel is, that's what I ride in the waves, all the time, 100% of the time. And especially now with the new one, it doesn't backstall easily or at all, actually. So you can ride a wave hooked in and do a few turns hooked in, and then maybe, unhook and hit the closeout section and, throw a handle pass or whatever, and not have to adjust your sheet strap, before unhooking. You can just unhook and not worry about your kite falling backwards. It's always going to keep flying forward, So
Sky, we're now checking out the 2009 North control bar. Can you tell us a little bit about what may have changed from the 2009 model from 2008?
Sure, yep. So not a whole lot of really major changes on the bar for 2009. Just a few simple things. For one, it's no longer coming with the micro hook assembled on the bar. It comes separately in the package. So for those that really like the micro hook, they can install it, snip out this little piece here, and still use it as normal. Also, we've changed the floats for 2009. Not a real major change, but just sort of aesthetically look a bit better. They're tapered from the top to the bottom, and they're a bit more durable than last year, like higher density foam. One last change is that we've put some Velcro on this sheet strap. So, normally when you have this strap dangling around, you can just sort of tag it to there and it stays up out of your way.
How about it looks like the bar ends? I mean, I'm sure this is from last year, but the bar ends, so you just need one bar? Is it an interchangeable bar?
Yeah, so we just have one bar. So basically, you have a wider setting and a narrower setting. To change it, basically just slide this float up, pull this line through and reattach the line on the other side, so that effectively gives you a shorter bar.
How about North's safety system? Is it a re-ride system, or once you engage it, is your session over?
Yeah, it's a total re-ride system. You can really easily release it. It's got a really low release force. It actually releases at 4 kilos under 200 kilograms of load. So basically, to release, just push this red tab up. You release from the kite. You can pull yourself back to the kite using the Fifth Element safety system. It's really easy to reload. Just put that bar through there, push this up, and relaunch your kite, and you're back in your session.
And can you tell us a little bit about what happens when you engage your Fifth Element safety or secondary system?
So basically, once you push this up, all the load goes onto your leash here, which is attached to your harness. The kite basically just loses all power and falls to the water. If for some reason, say you become tangled with another kiter on the water and you need to release your entire system, there's a secondary release on the leash here on your harness that you can simply pull and release the entire kite.